So, are you trying to figure out how to get involved in interfaith work yourself? Do you want to learn about the added value that interfaith can bring into your life? Today I sit down with Zeynep Kariparduc to talk about her efforts in the interfaith space in the Salt Lake City area. So come, join us in this episode. Zeynep, welcome to joining us today on Interfaith
Thank you so much,
Conversations. It's so great to
Matthew.
have
I'm
you.
so glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's such a treat to have Zeynep on here on our podcast today because she's well known in the interfaith efforts that she does in the Salt Lake City area. She's been a past chair of the Salt Lake City Interfaith Roundtable, and a lot of the work she does is through the Emerald Hills Institute, which is based here in Utah in Cottonwood Heights, but does a lot of things throughout the Salt Lake City area. So it's great. We're
Thank you,
glad to
Matthew.
have you on here today, Zeynep. So a little bit to help with our viewers, could you tell a little bit about
Yes, of
yourself and your
course.
background?
I'm Zeynep Kariparduc. I am a Turkish American Muslim citizen. Was born and raised in Istanbul, and I have lived in different countries throughout my life, like Romania, Kosovo, Kyrgyzstan, and in 2010 we came to United States with my husband and my four kids, and I my life experience taught me exposing different geographies and cultures and religions. So after coming here, I immediately became involved with interfaith work here in Utah, and I started volunteering with the Emerald Hills Institute, and also we were a member of Salt Lake Interfaith Roundtable. So I started going to different churches and synagogues and faith groups programs to understand their worldview and learn from them, and then I became even more passionate about interfaith work because I see so much of value in interfaith work, and I became passionate about it. And since then, I have been doing lots of interfaith work throughout Utah.
And that's what we could spend hours just on that pedigree. There's all sorts of things you shared in there. I'm curious with the Kosovo. What led you into Kosovo area? Because I know that was definitely a difficult time in the '90s, and then back out again.
Yes, so my husband and I were educators, and it was right after the
Oh,
war,
okay.
and there was a teaching opportunity there, and my husband wanted to go and
Oh,
help those students who right suffered with the post-war, before war and after war. They were also still traumatized, and we as family wanted to be part of their healing process, and education was our strength, and that we chose to way to help them in teaching. So we went there, we stayed there for 6 years, and when we went there you would still see all the
oh,
remains of the war. There are holes on the walls, and
ruined
people are
buildings.
still, and you can tell they
Wow.
were still traumatized. But I am glad we made that decision to go there, and we were able to help to teach. Thank you.
Wow, what an incredible story being there in Kosovo. I mean, Kosovo's come a
Yes.
long way in the last,
Yes.
many years, I guess the last 20 years from that stage. So I'm glad there, I guess healing is going somewhere. So that's great that you're a part of that. So when you came to Utah then, what was some of you said you got involved in interfaith. Could you share a little bit about when you first came here, like how you made connections to get involved, or where you looked to getting involved with interfaith? How did that process look
Um,
like when you arrived in
so
Utah?
there was Emerald Hills Institute has different name back then, and one of the programs was interfaith and dialogue programs. So Emerald Hills Institute has community education, art and culture, and interfaith programs, also youth programs as well. So and this Emerald Hills Institute was established Turkic American group, and that's why I immediately involved and get to learn about their work. And I was, like I said earlier, I immediately became involved with interfaith work, what is going on in here, because most of the geographies I got involved was mostly Muslims, and not majority of Christians except
Yeah.
Romania. But Romania is not like Utah. Utah is faith-based state, so you can see faith everywhere. Everyone, not only LDS faith. You see people who are heavily inspired by their faith. So that, yes, and
By their faiths. Yeah.
that created curiosity on me how people's shaping their life, their daily life, their worldview. And I was curious to learn, and I didn't take as an assignment. I was voluntarily curious and engage with interfaith work. I start participating in different interfaith programs, and I started organizing and leading and initiating various interfaith programs. That is my story about interfaith engagement.
Well, that's great. I think that's an important thing for people to know because, a lot of it just
Yes.
starts at the curiosity level. What do what should what's going on out there? How are other faiths
Mhm.
interacting together? How can I get involved? And then you
Yes.
start doing things to act,
Mhm.
to like you said, to organize, to kind of get
Mhm.
those
Yeah.
connections made. So that makes a lot of sense. So I one question I had on that then is for you coming from Turkey and all those experiences and then and to Utah, um, what was it? What is it in your Islamic faith that motivates you to do interfaith work? From your background,
Yeah.
what? How does your faith inform your
Yes,
interfaith work?
when we look at our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him's life, a majority of his life is interfaith, in fact, because he was assigned with a duty to spread the word about Islam, and there was no other Muslims around him. Started
Good point.
reaching out and talking people about the revelation he is receiving from God, and his life pretty much all about interfaith. This is one point. Also, our faith is teaching us compassion, justice, service, and it doesn't indicate compassion, justice, and service toward Muslims, to humanity. And Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, says, if you are sleeping while your neighbor is hungry, you are not actually among us. You are not actually among Muslims. So he doesn't say
Ah,
your Muslim
okay.
neighbor. He says your neighbor. So that teaches me I need to be
Mm,
aware what is going on in my community, what is needed out there, who is in need of resources or help or food or home, or and it is my responsibility as Muslim to go out and see what is going on in my community and how can I help people who are in need. It
yeah,
definitely resonates deeply with my faith because I am responsible to help others as one of the main principle of Islamic faith. Also, I am responsible to create justice, and I am responsible to create a clean environment. The air quality, everything we are dealing with in society has element in Islam that teaches us be proactive and help. And Prophet Muhammad even says, if there is a last day of the world and if you have a plant in your hand, just plant it, even if you know it's going to be, last day of the
yeah.
earth. So it is a good teaching for us. No matter what, no matter what situation we are in, we should be contributing in our society, in earth sustainability, environment, and we are responsible helping our neighbors, friends, family, animals, and all live beings.
That's really neat insights. When I think of in my faith, a big part that we highlight, which lots of Christians do, is the whole notion of, you should be caring for your neighbor, and who is your neighbor? It's those who are around you, even the ones that are not who you think that easily come to mind as like, oh yeah, this is my friend, but also people that really Jesus taught that it's even your
Yes,
enemies you should be friendly
yes.
with, you should be kind towards. And so that's a really neat connection that you bring up in your faith, and the idea of the environment needing to be, we have a responsibility to take care of the things that God has given us. We
Yes.
would use words like stewardship. We have stewardship over to care for the earth because it's something that God gave us to take care of, and we will be held responsible for how we take care of it. So
Right.
I think those are fantastic ideas. I think some of the things that I love hearing about in Islam is just the connection um, that Islam teaches about caring for the other person. And we don't hear that a lot in the media. Things like, I might get this verse wrong in the Quran, but it talks about if you save one person, you save all humanity. If you harm one
Yes,
person, you harm all of humanity.
that
I
is
don't know
one
if
of
I
the
botched
main
that, but
principles, and it is a verse in Quran. If you harm someone, it is the same as harming all humanity. If you save someone, yes, it is same like serving all humanity. It is very one of the main principle in Islam, and we don't hear this on media. It
yeah, we
is.
don't. But that's so important. And, I think,
Mm.
like you said, and even in your own life example, you have such a great example of going out there and showing how Islam is to be there to heal. Like the word, Islam comes
Mhm.
from the
Yes.
root of
Yes.
salam, right? The idea of peace. Like
Mhm.
that is what it should bring. It should bring nourishment. It should bring healing. And you bring that to people, and many, many other Muslims do. One other question I wanted to ask you is then how, when you get involved in other interfaith work, how can individuals maintain their own personal beliefs while still respecting and learning from people who hold different views than their own?
In my own experience, I can tell I became better and stronger Muslim as I meet and learn from my interfaith friends. Because, I really mean saying that because we have certain way of living our lives. So I was in Istanbul, Turkey until I am 20 years old. And there was a certain ways we would do 5 times prayers and charity and almsgiving and fasting. Those are some worships to God. But I wasn't really aware of serving others part and be conscious of society and social problems, and I my perception was kind of limited. And once I was exposed to different faiths, I started seeing, look at my Jewish friend, how great that they are doing this practice in their faith, and if I do the same in my faith, I can be a better Muslim. Or look at my Christian friends, how they
Yeah,
practice during Christmas and how they try to learn and practice Christ teachings, and it they 100% resonates with my own faith. So I I started learning from my interfaith friends, and then as I implement those teachings into my life, all faiths actually, yeah, all faiths teaches us being a good person, right? And don't lie, be honest, don't
right.
harm, and serve others. And common principles are the same exactly. At the end of the day, you go to church,
Mm,
I go to mosque, Jewish friends go to synagogue. But what religion tell us about humanity? Basically, same thing. As I was learning from my interfaith friends, I started implementing their best practices that I didn't see when I was raising, and I became better Muslim. And I highly recommend everyone go out of your comfort zone. Getting involved with interfaith work doesn't make you less Muslim, less Christian, or less Jewish. It will create love,
right.
harmony, and understanding. You will start loving your neighbor, and you will start learning from them, and you will start inspiring by their good practices, and that doesn't gonna give any harm to your own faith. And then you will realize altogether you will create a better society by creating these connections and eliminating fears and biases among us. So it is win-win-win situation. But we don't need to be scared to getting out of our comfort zone. You will see the value as you go them, as you interact with your interfaith friends. You will see the value and how important and how much that involvement can give value in your life. So 100%, it is very much strong and needed attitude to involved with interfaith work.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to think of win win win. That's what's been going through my head now, Zainab. I love that because it really is. Even in my experiences, I remember when I spent time in the Middle East, I spent time in Jordan, helping with NGOs there, and it was amazing to meet my Muslim friends there that literally would like give me the clothes off their back if I was, in need. The Arab hospitality is a real thing, and it was amazing to see the gestures of kindness towards someone like me who many of them it was the first time they met me, and yet they were so kind and so generous. And I don't think we talk about that enough. And I think that's what, like what you said, that's why it's important. Get out there, get outside your comfort zone, because when we do, we see that there's so much more good than there is bad. We can unite on doing so many good things together by doing that. And so I really appreciate your insights on that. I couldn't have said it better myself. I think the way you talked about it was really good. Another question I wanted to ask you is on talking about admiration about other faiths. Can you give us an example of some belief or practice or another piece of another person's faith that's different from your own that you admire, that you said you kind of incorporated? Could
Yeah.
you give an example of that?
I really, really like Christmas season because people start seeking ways to explore opportunities to serve their neighbors who are in need, and
Just
they remind each other the spirit of Jesus Christ, because Jesus in Islam, starting from Prophet Adam till Muhammad, all prophets are sent by God, and they are real prophets, and they are our prophets too. So whoever we must believe and follow all of them. So Jesus Christ is our prophet too, and his teachings are amazing. And when I see people are trying to do good deeds, good things, and serving others, and trying to help each other, and that sense of charity and helping, that really inspires me. I truly enjoy experiencing Christmas season with my friends. And there are many other examples I can give, but Christmas season one of the best. I can give an example. Also, I don't know if Thanksgiving is considered holiday season, but I like Thanksgiving too because it is all about thankfulness, and that resonates me very well.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to point out. One of the times I actually met Zainab, the last time we were in person together, was at a Interfaith Thanksgiving last November. They had one in Salt Lake City at the Greek Orthodox Church space that Emerald Hills helped sponsor, and it's just a great way to bring all the faiths together. And it was so neat because there was different people that gave little talks or speeches at the beginning about how their faith relates to Thanksgiving. So every faith was sharing their own views of what Thanksgiving means to them. And I think everybody benefited from that. I think we all learned about each other's faiths more. And like you said, it was a win-win-win. It was a great opportunity to do that. And so I think that's a good transition into what we do to talk about what you do with Emerald Hills Institute. So Emerald Hills Institute, like you said, does many different things in the community to
Yes.
try and get engaged and involved. And so could you share a little bit about what you do with Emerald Hills Institute and what does that look like in
So
the Salt Lake
Emerald
City
Hills
area?
Institute established about 15 years ago. We have had different names with the same vision and mission. Basically, we bring together to create love, harmony, and understanding, because there is division and polarization everywhere and all the time, and that triggers fears and biases, and people are hesitant to come together if they don't know each other, especially if they are from different cultures, backgrounds, religion.
Yeah.
There are so many differences, even in different political views, right? Everything can divide us.
Right.
And so our mission is bringing people together around around common grounds, which are art and culture, and interfaith and dialogue, and community services, and youth projects, and community education programs. So we have several programs and we bring people around different topics or projects, and sometimes they come together for a cooking class to make a food together. Sometimes they come together to talk about Thanksgiving. Sometimes they come together to learn about fasting, Ramadan. Sometimes they come together to learn about a traditional art form, such as we did just recently, Native American beading workshop. So people came together and they learned about Native American culture from a Native American artist, and they learned how to make beading. So different projects bring people together, and while they are discussing or creating something, they become friends, and they get to learn from each other. They share their life and their worldviews, their struggles. We try to create a friendly and cozy environment for everyone. So whoever comes under Emerald Hills Institute roof, they find a welcoming space. That's why we call Emerald Hills Institute a community center for all. So it is not serving to a certain population. We like to serve everyone out there who is open to learn and engage and give.
That's awesome. What we'll do is we'll make sure we put a link below where people
Mm-hmm.
can check out the Emerald Hills Institute and see the great programs they do. They're on social media, and there's a lot of things that you guys connect with throughout the community. And so there's if people want to get involved, definitely consider looking into Emerald Hills Institute and the work that they do there, because there's some amazing stuff that you guys put together with other people, and that's, again, back to your win-win-win. I'm going back to that comment, because you just continue to connect with others, and then you end up creating something even better together. And I really liked the point you brought up earlier too about, ignorance is what breeds fear in a lot of ways. And the more we lower the amount of ignorance we have by engaging with others that may seem different from us, from different backgrounds, it lessens that
Yes.
fear and opens up love and peace and joy and unity and harmony in so many meaningful ways. So I think there's so many good things that you do with that. So I really appreciate you sharing about Emerald Hills Institute stuff. Is there anything else about Emerald Hill Institute or upcoming events that you would
Yes,
kind of point people
we
to?
are gonna have Ramadan is approaching, and we are gonna have multiple interfaith Ramadan dinners. And I would recommend people to look up our website and see the dates and sign up for those, because they are gonna have good experience. I can promise that. So, and we have delicious food as well.
Yes, I've been to two of the Ramadan dinners that are sponsored by the Emerald Hills Institute, and it's always a treat. There's always so many people there. It's a lot of
Yeah.
fun, and they're
In
great
fact, last
that are
year
put on.
we when we had that Ramadan dinner, we had a panel discussion, and there was five different interfaith leaders who talked about their fasting practices in their own faiths. So it was very nice, because fasting is not only in Islam. The LDS Church has fasting component, and Jews and some other faith groups, they have different form of fastings, and meaning behind or reasoning of the fasting is almost same, creating sense of charity and understanding poverty and increasing sense of charity. So with same principles but different forms of fasting, and it is fascinating to hear, wow, you fast, I fast too, oh my goodness, you pray that way, I pray in similar way. So it is very interesting to learn how they foster those practices in little bit different ways, but with the same purpose, being closer to God and understanding the society.
Yeah, and that commonality that kind of is connected there. That's fantastic. So one other thing I wanted to make sure we got a chance to talk about before we kind of close up here is the idea of the Salt Lake City Interfaith Roundtable. Many people may have never heard
Mhm.
those words string together before. Could you kind of share a little
Yes,
bit, since you were
yes.
a past chair of the
Mhm.
organization, about the history of the roundtable and What is it,
Yes,
and how do people get
exactly.
involved in that?
So, Salt Lake Interfaith Roundtable is the oldest interfaith organization in Utah State. It was established during Winter Olympics back in 2002, and since then it was established temporarily. But since it was very well received, it continued to serve and grow. And now, right now, it represents more than 40 faith groups in Utah State. Interfaith Roundtable has monthly meetings, interfaith meetings, and each month you go to different worship places, and there are different topics you can sign up for, and you can go and enjoy the lunch, and then you can learn from different faith groups, and it's a great way to get involved. Also, you get notifications about interfaith happenings in Salt Lake County. So I highly recommend going to their website and sign up for emails and become a member. There's a small membership fee, but definitely worth it. And it would be a great resource for people to learn about overall interfaith work in Salt Lake County.
That's great. Yeah, I know from my own side of things, you can get on the website and sign up for the newsletter, and they'll email you, like you had said, they'll email you specific events that are happening, and you can pull those right up and know where to go. And there's some great
Yes,
resources
exactly.
to
Yeah.
connect in that space. Oh, well, that's great. Well, I know we've talked about so many wonderful things, Zeynep. You have a wealth of experience, and we're very grateful for your willingness to come on here. Just before we leave, what are some ways that you would say people could get involved in interfaith beyond what we've just talked about? And maybe particularly if you have any thoughts on how to help youth get engaged in interfaith, because that's a group that we're always striving to find ways to help them, because they're the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
We want them to be able to break down barriers that they see in the world. Any of your kind of
Yes.
final thoughts on those
And
things would be
it
awesome.
doesn't have to be big steps, and we can start with our classmates or our next door neighbor or our colleagues, who are not sharing same beliefs or worldviews or language or background with us, and just approaching them, approach your colleagues, and hey, can we have a cup of coffee or juice or whatever? I would like to learn about you. Or knock your neighbor's door, for invite them to your home for a coffee or for dinner or whatever, because those small steps really makes big difference, and it makes change. And I can give you one example. When I moved
Sure.
this house 7 years ago, and I am still only a Muslim family, and there's no other families around here, and I invited people for is it called housewarming event, right? Housewarming. Yes.
Yeah, housewarming or house
And
party
I
or
opened my
open
door to
house,
my
things like
neighbors,
that.
and many neighbors came up for that event, because I know the power of media and negative media affects people, and I didn't want my neighbors feel weird about me, as I am a new neighbor who is Muslim and doesn't participate neighborhood church, speaks different language with heavy accent, lots of differences. I just wanted to introduce myself and my family. Here we are. Here's my family. Here are my kids, and I wanna be your neighbor, and I wanna have good connections. And it turned out great. And then I started inviting my neighbors to not interfaith, Ramadan dinners at my home. And first, yes, and first
Oh,
there was like maybe 10, 12 families, and next year we had 20 families, and next year my home was too small for those people, and I ended up booking neighborhood church. And so with over 100 people participated to my Ramadan dinner, because they are open-minded people. But if I didn't initiate this, then they would probably hesitant to approach me, right? If they didn't see that I am willing to open my heart and my home, probably they would be more hesitant, and they wouldn't want to maybe go out of their comfort zone. And then they started inviting me or their church for different programs. And now I am going to my friends' daughters' mission announcement or birthday party, or when they came from mission, they invite me to learn, hear about their experiences at their church. So that really makes me very happy. And during Christmas, I receive gifts from my neighbors, and I make small gifts for my neighbors, and I drop all of their doors. So it is small thing, but it creates connection, and it gives a message that I am celebrating with you and you celebrate with me, and that means a lot for me, and hope my celebration with you means something to you. Yeah, small steps. It doesn't have to be, initiating big interfaith project. It can come later, but with small steps, they will see there is there will be difference, and then they can involve Interfaith Association in Utah County and Emerald Hills Institute if they wanna get and engage more. There are various ways to learn and engage, but it will start with themselves doing something small with a people right next to them.
Yeah, I love that advice. That makes me think of, there's a verse from our scripture from a prophet Alma giving instruction to his son. And he says, by small and simple things are great things brought to pass. And it really resonates with what you're saying there. It's the simple things
Yes.
that end up becoming great things, big things. And really it comes down to, you just need to start. Get out there, try, be open, learn how to allow people in and show them what great things you have to bring, and they'll bring things that
Yes.
you'll learn from. And that's really what this is all about. So Zeynep, I really appreciate you coming on here today, sharing these things with us. It's been a wealth of information and knowledge, and we look forward to catching up again in the future. And also everyone that's listening, good luck with what you're focused on to do next, and go out there and make it happen.
Thank you, Matthew,
So thanks for coming on.
inviting me. And I hope this podcast reach out people, and I hope we can create a ripple effect so that can touch people's life, even if little bit. Yeah.
That's our goal here. So thank you so much. So thanks for tuning in today with our interview with Zeynep. I loved the opportunity to reach out to Zeynep. She is an incredible human being. The work that she does in the Salt Lake City area is truly tremendous. And so we're really grateful to be able to have her come on to the podcast. Some points to think about. I mean, some of the things that she talked about, the idea that breaking down barriers really comes down to simple acts of getting outside yourself. And by doing that, we can find ways to build a better world where we don't have to feel so confrontational against each other. We can understand where each other's coming from and live, like she said, in better love, harmony, and understanding with each other. I think there's a lot you can take away here. So thanks for coming to this episode. If you like the content that we are producing, please like and subscribe to our channels and podcasts. And we're so grateful to be able to be in this space with you. So whatever you're doing, I hope you can continue to feel inspired to get out there and really make a difference by making those connections with people who are not of your own faith community. So until next time, whether you say shalom, salam, or namaste, you can be the change the world needs today.